welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Lola. I'm a UK and a US RN. I'm in transition right now to move to Florida. I, like other nurses, are caught up in the retrogression. So, meanwhile, life goes on. Anyway, if you're new to this channel, welcome and thank you for joining. Please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. On this channel, we do nursing related topics. We talk about hair. We do product reviews and things that I found has benefited me and my health. And we are doing baking again. Thank you all for joining and watching the last video on Watch Me Bake a Cake and the vitamin C review. Guys, it's that last video. You all watched it and you know it was apparently you guys want me to do stuff related to cooking because that seems to be doing really well with you guys. So I figured I would do another one for you today. So today I want to bake a bread for you. Now this is a bread that me and my family, shall I say, especially my son, has been eating it on a daily basis. The last loaf that I baked was 2 days ago, and this is what's left of that loaf. He's basically demolished it all. Anyway, I thought I would bake another loaf, the bread that I make is not made with regular flour. I use Einkorn Flour. And this is how I store my Einkorn Flour in these containers. So what I usually do is I buy a 25 kg bag, massive bag, and then I store it in containers, and I order it online. I will leave a link below for anyone that's interested in trying the Einkorn Flour. So Einkorn Flour, for anyone that's gluten intolerant or has problems with bloating or has issues with gluten, Einkorn Flour is the best flour for you. Now, when I used to eat regular flour, I used to have this stomach in front of me and I felt bloated and I didn't feel good with regular bread on the shelf. So I started breaking my own bread, and through research, I found Einkorn Flour. Now, it's all-purpose that I use, but I have used the whole grain Einkorn Flour before. It's not a flour that you could just pick off the shelf. You can get the whole grain one in Sainsbury's, I believe, but the all-purpose one, you can't find it on a shelf. You have to order it online from a company that I would leave a link below for anyone that's been wanting to try the Einkorn Flour to break. So I bake sourdough bread with my Einkorn Flour, and I use sourdough starter. Now again, I make my own starter. So this starter now, I've had it for about 7 months now, and what I've been doing is I started it and then I've been just feeding it when I need to. Baking bread, put it back in the fridge, take it out, feed it, and then leave it for a while and then bake a bread. So it is now ready. Is what my Einkorn Flour looks like inside. So I fed it, it is expanded a little bit, and I am now going to use it to bake. All right, so first thing is first, we need a scale, a bowl, sourdough starter. We need, I don't use sugar, so I use the stevia erythritol sweetener just because I am trying to sort of stay away from the sugars. And I will also put a tiny bit of honey inside it, but that gets eaten up by the yeast bacteria once they start growing and everything there. That gets eaten up, so it negates it. And then I use macadamia nut oil. I do sometimes use olive oil, but I've run out of olive oil, so I'm using macadamia nut oil. So the first thing I will do is turn on my scale, and right, so that's done. I need 295 grams of water. So I've put water inside there, and it's slightly warm water, not hot, because you don't want to kill your sourdough. So 295 of water goes inside the bowl, and to that I had stevia, and I put 2.5 tablespoons inside there, and let's see, a little bit of honey. Now I eyeball this, but I have measured it out in the past, and it is just half a teaspoon that I put inside there, just half a teaspoon, just a little bit. My water, my honey, I'm gonna put 2.5 tablespoons of my stevia erythritol blend. That's 1, that's 2, and a half. Okay, that's that. To this I add yeast. Now, you don't need to put yeast in this. If you want the bread to bake a bit quicker and to rise a bit quicker, I do yeast. If I was going to do it in my Dutch oven, I would do this. Once I've kneaded it and everything, I'll put it inside this bowl, right? To make the traditional sourdough. Shape it, rounded it, and then keep it in the fridge overnight, and then bake it the next day. But because my bread is almost finished, we need a loaf today. So I'm not going to do the long process. I may do another video doing the traditional sourdough for you. We'll see. Sourdough goes inside with the yeast. Let me just show you what this looks like. You see what it looks like inside there. So I don't measure this out. I've been doing this loaf long enough to know how much I want inside, how much of my sourdough I want inside the bread. And like I said, if I was going to do the traditional sourdough, I would leave it overnight. So now it's a little bit more, and that would be just okay for me. So then I just leave that. This will go back in the fridge. I do just mix that a little bit. My mixer. Right, so mixed. I am gonna cover this. Although I've made breads without covering it and leaving it for a while, I have done that. What I might just do is just put everything inside there, make life a bit easier, and just and then just cover it after I've put the flour inside. All right, so I'm going to get my einkorn, open it up, and now this, I got it from my protein shakes, the ones that I'd finished, so it came in handy. Washed it, just put it inside here, and that just helps me to scoop up my flour. There's no need to waste plastic, guys. I mean, the environment is already crappy enough as it is, and we need to do a little bit more in terms of plastic wastage. So I do recycle my plastic. So I've zeroed my scale. I am now going to put 450 grams of einkorn flour in this mix. So there we go. You do not need to sift this flour. Just, oh, I'm making a mess, guys. I am making a mess. Oh, yep, that's why I needed to put my my apron on. So 450 grams of this will go inside that mix, and you're gonna need some more for the kneading process. So I usually reserve like half a cup for kneading. So 407 and 452, so 450, right. We're still going to use more of this flour for kneading, but I'll take you along with me once we need to get to that phase. So all of that is done now. The next thing I need to do is I put real salt, pink Himalayan salt. I've used this all for years, and it's the best salt for you. So for that, okay, so 1 teaspoon of salt. I usually do a little bit more than 1 teaspoon. I do 1 and a little bit. I'd say 1 and about 1/4 of a teaspoon. That's what I usually do. Okay, so 1 and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Then we take this off the scale and we start the mixing. Now this bit can be a little bit tricky. Get the flour all stuck on the side. But now the dough, when it's mixed, does come out a little bit wet, so be mindful. It does come out a little bit wet, but once you've gone through the whole process and you need to knead it, you add more flour, which then will make the dough a bit harder. So right now I'm just trying to get the flour from the side of the bowl with the spoon. Okay, right. So, and then we are going to try and make sure we incorporate everything in the mix. Any flour that's not mixed, give it a good mix. Make sure that there's none stuck at the bottom of the bowl. And once you've got all the flour mixed up in there, and you don't don't see any white bits left, you cover the bowl. Right, okay, so that looks fine to me. Okay, so now I need to cover this and let it rest. So I leave it to rest for about 30 minutes. I come back, mix it round again, leave it for another 30 minutes. I come back, and then I start to knead it with extra flour. Once I've done that, I'll leave it to rest, come back again, and do the same thing again. All right, so I'll bring you along with my covers that I use. And I bought this on Amazon. I forgot to put my oil, so I needed 2 tablespoons of oil. You can add it now. I've not had any problems adding it after. Just make sure that you mix it really well. So just add in my oil. So here we go, 2 tablespoons of oil. If you want to use olive oil, go ahead. If you want to use butter, go ahead. It's entirely up to you. If you want to swap out the water with half and half of milk, you can do that as well. I've done it before. It actually made for a really nice, like, kind of milky type bread. So I'm just going to mix this oil nicely in here. Just so, ideally, you want to make sure that that oil is mixed in before you start mixing everything. So, but it doesn't really make any difference in my opinion. I've forgotten so many times. I still made a good loaf of bread. So here we go. Right, so with the oil, you can see it's a little bit wetter than what it was before, which is fine. As I said earlier on, once I start putting more flour and kneading it, it will solidify a bit more. Right, so let's try and cover it up again. There we go, all done. So that's going to now stay for 30 minutes, and then I'll get back to you guys. And I'm gonna put some, this is what the bread looks like. Let's just show you. Need both my hands. Right, so this is what the bread looks like once it has rested. I want to get that out of the way. I've got my gloves here. I never use my hands to knead the bread. It's just too messy for me, and it's more hygienic this way. So I have a mat that I usually use so I don't make too much mess on my worktops. I've got my flour that I'm just spreading all over so that when I empty the batter onto it, it's not going to, just put some on the side there, it's not going to stick to the mat. I'm going to put my gloves on, and I need my scraper. Right, so I'm just gonna douse the scraper down with some flour so this doesn't, and then scrape the side of the bowl and take this out. try and get as much of the dough off so we're not wasting. As much off as possible. It's very sticky at the moment, but it will soon right. So I'm going to empty this. I am going to empty it onto the mat. The dough is very wet, very, very wet, but as I said, we're going to put quite a bit of flour back into it when we're kneading. Okay, so I want to pop some flour back in that bowl because it is going to go back in the bowl to rest again. So I'm just putting some flour so when I put it back in the bowl it doesn't stick. Okay, this is the messy part, guys. Okay. This is what I do. I just use the dough scraper to get as much flour on it before I start kneading it myself with my hands. Okay, so that's helped with the stickiness. And then at this point I will get some flour onto my gloves and then I just start kneading it. Right, it will be wet for a while. If your gloves gets too sticky, just put more flour on there. Oh, very sticky. You will make mess on the kitchen floor as well, so part and parcel of baking. Right, so as you can see, that's very sticky. You can use the scraper to scrape some of that off your gloves. Just try and get as much of it off as possible. Get some more flour onto the gloves. I really should have bought a smaller size for these gloves. It's a size medium. Might have to order another box from Amazon, but because they're a bit too big for me. Right, so we continue to do this. If you need more flour, add more flour. To be honest, this bit is quite satisfying, especially when you see the dough comes together. At the moment, it looks a little bit bad, shall I say. Maybe that's not the right word for it, but at the moment, it doesn't look good. But once it all forms and comes together, it starts to look good. Ew. Right, we're gonna need more flour. Put some on the top and then put some on the side. get my gloves back on. Right, use your scraper to scrape the dough off the mat so you can put some more flour underneath it. Try not to let it stick to the bottom, so just keep putting flour to help with the stickiness. It is starting to come together. It's not as wet as what it was before. I know some people prefer to knead the dough with their hands, but I don't like the stickiness of the dough on my hands. And as I said, this is much more sanitary, especially when other people are eating your bread, or if you're going to sell your bread, then gloves is the best way forward. Right. Okay, so what I've got now is this beautiful thing right there. Whole heap of mess, but I'm gonna put that back in the bowl, and then I'm going to let it rest again for ready. And I'm gonna pick this up. I'm gonna pop it in there so it doesn't stick. That's why I put the flour in there, and this is what we've got. And then you get goes over this like that for another 30 to 45 minutes. Okay, and you should see when I come back that the bread has risen. Okay, it has been 45 minutes. Can you see how beautiful that bread has risen? What a dough. The dough has risen beautifully. So we are going to get our gloves back on. And we're going to scrape so. Right. Then we're going to scrape this back onto our mat, and we're going to pound it some more. Okay, let's do this. So that just goes back onto the mat. And do you see that it didn't get stuck to the bowl because I put that flour in there? Right. We will do the same thing. So we stretch. Put this away so you guys can see what I'm doing. Stretch the dough. Right, so you want to get that gluten structure in, because like I said, this is not regular flour. This is Einkorn flour, so it tends to not have that you know, binding like regular flour for keeping everything together. So we're going to try So I'm going to stretch again, and again fold it in, stretch and fold, stretch and fold, stretch and fold. Don't overwork the dough, because you can overwork it as well. So just now. So this is I'm going to pop this back into the, and you're going to pop that back in there again, and you're going to cover it for another 30 minutes. Here we go again. Pan. This pan is a USA pan. I ordered this from Amazon, and it came with, there was another one, it was 2, and it was something like 47 or something. We'll pop a link below if anybody wants to get the pan on Amazon. I got it from Amazon. It has a lid, the one that's unopened. Sometimes I do use the lid, so as you can see it has a lid to cover, but I usually like to leave it open. I've got my release spray, and I use the Carlex spray, again Amazon. So I just spray that just so the bread doesn't get stuck in my pan. So that's nicely greased now over me. Cleaned up the table, and I also put that in the dough in the bread pan, and that will rest, give it a chance to rise. Once that's risen, I'll show you what it looks like when it's ready to be baked. Okay, so with this, you could use like a plastic saran wrap or something if you don't have one of these. And what I tend to do top of the dough so it doesn't, and then I'll cover it like that, and I'm going to leave that for 45 minutes. Once it's risen, I'll come back and show you what it looks like risen. Like, I'm gonna pre-warm my oven just about 5-10 minutes before I decide to stick this in the oven, just to get the oven warmed up. And I usually put my oven at 180, and then I put the timer on for the bread to be baked between 45 to 50 minutes. That's what I usually do. Most times between, okay, so that will stay there on this counter. And so we are back with our lovely bread. As you can see, it has risen, and just going to, oh, that looks beautiful. Here we go. This is what it looks like. Yeah, this is what it looks like without baking. So this is gonna go in the oven, and I'm gonna bake it for 40 to 45 minutes on 180. and then show you guys what it looks like after. All right. Oh, welcome back. Okay, so my lovely bread has actually baked. Look at that. Isn't that a beauty? It's risen lovely. It looks great, and it smells so good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let this cool down for a couple minutes. Then I'm gonna take it out of the pan, put it on the rack. But we are back. We are back. We are back. And the bread has had a chance to cool down. So, right. We're going to cut this. We're going to cut this bad boy so you guys can see what it looks like. All right. My son likes thicker slices, so this first bit I'll make it a bit thin. Oh, that is gorgeous. You see that? Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous bread. I love the color, but that's the flour. It always comes out that way. So this is the Einkorn Flour, what it looks like. And let me cut another slice, a regular slice for you guys. So you see, it does keep its structure. Oh, it smells so good. All right, and this is what that slice of bread looks like. Yeah. Let me just try and rip that for you. It's got a really good crust, a very good crust. Still feels a bit warm, and if I break it apart, see, soft inside. Okay, so we're gonna try this with some butter. So I'm gonna put a little bit of butter on this. The butter's been in the fridge, so I do apologize. My washing machine is doing its stuff there. I've got a whole heap of laundry to do, so you can hear that spinning in the background. I apologize for this, but housework has to be done. Right, so let's taste. Oh, this is a really good bread. This is a really good bread. Since I've been baking this, I do not buy any more shop bought breads. That stuff is lethal in the shops. And I put peanut butter, jam, cream cheese, make a sandwich, eggs. Oh, really good bread. That's a really, really good bread. Khalil, come and taste my bread. New fresh bread for you. I'll put some butter on there for you. I know you like the butter slathered on it. Let's put more for you. There you go, little man. Right. Hi guys, this is my gorgeous, handsome little man. Isn't he handsome? So taste the bread for me and let everyone know what you think.
That's good bread.
That's good bread. Yeah, I know. We don't buy any more shop bought bread, do we? That's all we eat now. So guys, thank you very much for watching this video. And please like, share, subscribe. And if you try baking this bread, put a comment down. Let me know what you think. Yeah, so it's a really good bread. You need to try this. So, okay. See you in my next video. Thank you for watching, guys. And thank you all for subscribing. Really, really appreciate it. Take care. Bye-bye.